It is episode number 132, and it's the second part of Dangerous Dan, the Irishman, from last week. We're going to continue our talk with Dan about everything Irish. We did the Waffle Game at the end, and we had a little bit of a shell-bomby moment as well. So enjoy part 2. This one is actually called Donegal OnlyFans. It's sad though, isn't it, that there's not a higher percentage of people in the country that speak Irish. You hear it, obviously we're close to Carn here, and you get a few people in the shops, I hear them talking to each other in Irish, and you turn around and think like, that's beautiful. Yeah. Absolutely beautiful to hear it. Like, I really wish that I could do it. I probably could if I actually had the time to sit down and actually learn it. But the way that we were taught it, I felt kind of pushed me further away from the language than brought me closer to it, to be honest.
I would agree with that. Like, it's kind of, again, like something we'd often get asked, you know, why is there such resentment towards Irish? And I think it is the way it's taught, and that in fact it was forced upon people, like. And then I suppose, like, from my side of things, the way the curriculum is set up, it's not great. It's not promoting. It's focusing too much on like literature and poetry and prose, especially at leaving cert level. Like, it's you know, instead of just kind of getting people to speak the language and, you know, write a bit in Irish, like, but, you know, ultimately we want people speaking the language, you know, because at the end of the day, like, the students that leave school now, they're not going to write an essay on a poet or a poem in Irish. Like,
I'd be much happier just to be able to speak it rather than
absolutely.
So I think that's a big problem now. Now they are changing the leaving cert curriculum at the minute. So, like, the junior cert would have been kind of revamped there in the last number of years. Now that is not perfect either, but it's I suppose that it's done now, and I think they're trying to work on it and kind of tweak things. But the new leaving cert that'll be kind of getting rolled out across the board, across all the subjects. Now I think that'll be starting from maybe next year or the year after. So we're kind of waiting with bated breath to see what comes of that. Like, but hopefully that they'll kind of try and focus more on conversational Irish and things like that, because at the end of the day, that's what it's about. Like.
And do you have no input into what is on that curriculum? Teachers aren't asked?
No, we would have no significant input. Like, you'd have maybe teachers that are seconded to go and work on it and work on that and kind of, you know, draw up this new curriculum and new subject, but no, ultimately we don't really have a lot of say in it.
You guys are on the ground floor. You see how it's being taught, and you see the effects of it, and you see what the students need. It's ridiculous that you're not being asked for your input on it. Like, especially Irish speakers like you, who understand the language and could possibly think of a better way of getting it across to the students.
That's it. Like, and I suppose if we were kind of given a bit more of a say, at least then, you know, you could kind of try and find, you know, the best way to try and promote the language and to have it taught, like, but it's generally not really how the world works, is it? And where everybody gets to have a say. But it would be better, because like, year on year now, and it's kind of getting to the point now, I'm like, I've heard this so many times now, I've, you know, students giving out about the way it is kind of set up and the way it's taught, like, and you can't blame them, because like, even for me as a native speaker, who, when I was in school doing in Irish, like, I didn't want to study poetry and prose at about 15, 16, 17. I had no interest in Irish or English, like.
The whole leaving cert and stuff's probably feeding into it. It's not just the Irish side of it, like. Yeah. The way everything's taught, like.
The problem is, at the minute, it's now a lot of the students, well, I would see now, I would have taught in a Gael school in Monaghan for a year, so I've kind of seen both sides of the school that I'm in at the minute. It's an English speaking school and an English language school, and you know, you've kind of got two extremes there. You've got the Gael school, who are, everything's done through Irish, like the way I would have had it at home when I was in school, and then obviously the opposite, like. But I would have noticed the same thing. It's more about, especially in the school I'm in at the minute, where there are students, they're all having to do Irish, but it's kind of a means to an end. Whereas, right, just tell me what I need to know, what I need to learn
for this test, and then get me out the door.
I'll regurgitate it, and then, you know, it's...
Well, that's I remember doing that for what's the one where you go in to talk to somebody in the Leaving Cert?
The oral exam.
The oral exam, yeah. And I remember you just kind of learned off a thing. And then if they asked you any questions that you weren't prepared for, you're like, what?
Je m'appelle. Again, very sad. We're sitting here laughing about it, but it's so sad. My dad is, we're from the north originally, but he says that now he wants to go back. He's re-retiring again soon. And it's something that he would love to do. Because obviously when they were in school and stuff, they were told that you can't speak Irish. You're not allowed to speak it. It was pretty much banned. So he's said that he's going to go back now and try and learn it later in life. As a language, say, comparable to, say, Spanish or French or German, is it a hard language to learn, especially at that sort of age?
It is a difficult language to learn, to be honest. But... Again, I think it's like everything. If you devote enough time to it, you will be able to learn it. It's not impossible to learn. The school that we're in the minute, like we've got students from all over the world. Like, and we were quite a diverse population in the school. Like, and some of the best students that we would have seen in the last few years are, maybe students whose parents came from Eastern Europe or from Africa or from places like that. There, so it's not impossible, but I suppose the older you get, I'd say maybe the more difficult it is, probably. But I think it's like everything. Like, and I would compare it to sport, where like I have a student saying to me, "Oh, it's I can't do it," and I'm kind of going, "Well, you can do it, but it's just whether you're willing to put in the time and effort." Like, it's kind of, if you say you can do it, then why not? Like, and it's the same. If you say, "Oh, I can't do this," then you probably won't. You probably can't. But
I think people feel under pressure to get it right.
What do you mean?
Do you know the way we speak English, but it's like it's not proper English? Where I think when people go to learn Irish, they feel like they have to learn like the exact Irish. There's no like casual Irish, but even though there is, but I think that's the kind of thing that they have when they go to learn it. It's like the real strict, as in what you were saying with school and stuff, the real strict Irish, rather than like saying, well, if that's kind of half sound right and it's okay. And you can like have like slang words or whatever in it. I think it'd be better to try and go that way with people. Like, that's an easier way to learn things. Like,
there's something that is needed there in order to make it kind of. I don't want to say that there shouldn't be like a campaign or something. Well, maybe there should, just to make it like cool for young kids to be speaking Irish to each other. Because like in Wales, wasn't there a huge big influx of young Welsh speaking kids? Like it was kind of, it wasn't dying out or anything, but something happened and there was a big turning point, and a lot of like Welsh kids are all fluent and talk to each other in Welsh.
Because you don't want to be like Scotland. Scotland's national anthem isn't even in Scottish.
It's the Scottish language, is there?
Yeah, so there's Gaelic. Yeah, it's kind of would have come from Celtic times, and it's actually quite similar to Irish.
Oh, is it?
It's very, very similar. So they have that language, but again, it's not spoken much at all now.
That's probably less than Irish even would be.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, 100%.
And what about Welsh then? Is that completely different?
There's
no vowels.
Literally. Yeah. No, there'd be no similarities there really with Irish, but it's a subject. I think it's a language actually that's from. I know a couple of friends of mine who would have studied kind of Celtic languages and Celtic studies in college, like, and one of them would have done a bit of Welsh, like, and he loved it.
Really?
But he said it's quite difficult. It's actually probably more difficult than Irish to learn. So it's but I think it's, again, if you devote enough time and effort, then why not?
What's the deal with when you're? I'd be listening to say something in Irish, and the odd time you get an English word thrown in. Is that just people being lazy, or is it that there's just no Irish word for that?
It's just people being lazy, yeah.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
Like, again, like I would do it at home as well from time to time, where you'd be speaking maybe to dad or to whoever it is, when your mates or somebody in the shop, and like what you were saying about the slang, like there's a lot of that where you kind of, it's I don't want to say it's a made up word, but it's kind of. It's not a proper Irish word, but people know they know what you're talking about.
There are new English words that are coming up, and obviously Irish is an old language too. So do they get integrated into Irish then?
Probably, yeah.
Or would they be the English words that you throw in when you're talking? Like, is there an Irish version of woke?
Oh, that's a good point, actually. Yeah, all these new terms.
I would say there are. Like, you have, like, there are, I suppose, people that are their job is to kind of create these words or to translate these words into
well, the word woke actually it's not a new word, like, it's been around for ages, so it's a different meaning
to
wake. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah,
You know,
that's true.
you know what I mean?
Fair enough.
So there is those words. It's just that the terms are. You got me there for a second. I was like, geez, I wonder, is there an Irish word for woke? And I was like, oh yeah, it probably is. Yeah, because
there is
too wake. Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? Is there a way of pushing Irish, like, because we got Tina G. It's not very in the forefront of Irish culture. Is there a way of pushing that into Irish culture? What can we do in order to push it on?
Well, I think actually their coverage of the football is actually probably the best coverage.
TG Garrison, yeah, it's brilliant.
I like watching because they have different angles and they show from behind the goals and things like that.
That's obviously all in Irish, yeah.
Yeah, it's all in Irish, yeah.
But I think they're actually, what they're quite good at too is, like, say if they have, you know, like the little ribbons with kind of what they're talking about, if they're doing the analysis, like they'll have written in Irish and then have written in English as well. Maybe it'll that'll alternate over and back. So at least, like, you'd often see on Twitter or X or whatever that people would always be giving out about not understanding what they're talking about or what their the topic of discussion is. Whereas now, like, they've started to do bits like that there where what they're writing on the screen is written in Irish, then in English afterwards, just to kind of to help people out. And then like they'll throw the odd word of English in here and there. I would find I don't know if that's intentional or is it just again being lazy. I don't know, but like, I think if you were to watch that, you know, week in, week out, or, you know, if you're watching a couple of games every week, then you would 100% pick up.
Yes, yeah. So what happens to me is it's gone about 4 minutes further on, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's what that was.
It was rain. He was saying rain. That's what it was.
I'm trying to translate in my head because I'd only get like the real basic words that you remember from school. So you're trying to pick out the odd thing, but I do think, like, when it's football terms, that's what I found easier, because you're listening to the commentary and you know their football terms
and you're interested in it as
well. Yeah, exactly. So you're kind of, what happened as you're watching, you kind of say, well, that must be that, or you're trying to match things up with what's happening on the screen. I think that's easier.
So is it like an introduction to Irish should actually be probably a lot earlier than, say, we're getting to primary school kids are what, 5, 6, that age group. Irish should be probably introduced in the home on TV or something like that from real early, because that's, you pick up languages. Like I have one of the directors here in the school. His daughter's she's Irish, but her mother's Spanish, so they speak to her in 2 languages in the house, and she's fluent in both. So sometimes she'll say something back and it'll come out in Spanish, or it might come out in English. But she just picks it up like that. So then by the time she gets to school now, she's already got 2 languages down, but her brain is tuned into, say, listening to languages. So her picking up Irish is probably going to be a hell of a lot easier as well.
100%.
Than, say, anyone else who just has spoken English the whole way through. Yeah,
like I was saying, I have a friend of mine who lives over in Donegal there, and him and his wife, they're both from, well, one's from County Tyrone, another one's from County Down, like, but they're living in Donegal now for a number of years, and they have 2 young girls who have just started going to creche, like, but they would speak nearly only Irish to the 2 girls, like. Wow. Do you know? And, you know, you kind of reiterates the point of, you don't have to be living in a Gaeltacht area or an Irish speaking region to do it, like, you know. And obviously the 2 parents were very fortunate that they would have been exposed to Irish. You know, they would have had an interest in it. They would have went. I met them I work at the Gaeltacht up at home, so there's an Irish summer college that has courses every year, and that's where I would have met them originally, like, working there, and we've remained good friends since, like. And you know, obviously they were lucky enough that they went there as teenagers and then went back to work there, and, like, they're teachers, like, so they have an interest in it, but I suppose, again, that gives them the opportunity as well to develop their Irish, like, and now they're passing that on to their 2 girls, like. So it's all about exposure to it, like, and, you know, how much you are. And I suppose, like, to be honest, I think TikTok and you know, Instagram, like, that's would be a great way to do it, like. And I'm actually not on TikTok, I know you are, like, but I don't know if there's much about it on
well
it.
There's a teacher from Longford, can't remember her name, and she comes up in the rotation or algorithm, whatever, and because I like one of her videos, but she talks Irish, and she does like a video on, like, different words. So one day it was about the weather, because the weather, and was saying how you say certain things and stuff,
keywords and stuff,
yeah,
like.
And I think she is an Irish teacher, she studied Irish or whatever, but yeah, she talks, but she obviously does it in a relatable way, you see, as well, on TikTok or whatever as well, and that's quite good.
So, is there a problem the other side of school then, when it comes to Irish speaking? Where is the incentive for, other than obviously pride in being Irish? Where's the incentive for young kids as well to continue to try and speak Irish or to use Irish? Like, you know, the way we say, okay, algebra, when am I ever going to use that again? Like, Irish out the other side of school, what can we do in order to make that, you know, to give them a carrot to go, you need to keep on.
Unless you're in the Gaeltacht area, you go into a shop, you're not.
So you're just speaking English.
Yeah.
So is there something the other side of that we can do in order to incentivize? I know we're trying to solve the world's problems here. This is pretty big stuff. But it's just, that seems to be the problem, is that it's only thought of once I get my Leaving Cert. It'll be handy to do up until my Leaving Cert exam, and even younger Irish speakers like, oh, we can do our Leaving Cert in Irish and it'll get us extra points and stuff. But there's the cut-off point. It's not within our culture currently in order, you know, to speak Irish.
Like, currently, the only reason that you'd probably want to do it, as in, like, the only reason that a large proportion of students maybe would do it at Leaving Cert level, I would see, is that once the students that want to go into teaching, you have to have H4, so 60% and above. That's one of the requirements for primary school teaching. Like, there are certain jobs, obviously, you know, we're talking about maybe media, like where you could go into, you know, presenting or, you know, working in the media side of things. And then I know another job where a couple of people that I would have known would have gone to Brussels to do translations.
Oh,
and
cool.
Now that's actually, it's a unbelievably well paying job, but they kind of would have said it was quite difficult because you're in Brussels, you're working on your own in an office all day translating, and they said it is kind of quite monotonous from that side of things, but like the money is excellent for it.
What translating things into Irish?
So documents, like, so for the EU, like working for the EU basically,
right.
Like, so obviously because anything that they release has to be
Irish and English
into all the all the EU languages, like, so.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So that's kind of one where you would say, you know, you could use it for that, and it is quite a well paid job. But the two people that I know that would have went and done it, they said it was great for a year, but you couldn't do it long term because it's
monotonous
just
enough.
monotonous, like, yeah.
Imagine that document comes to Ireland and they're like, I can't fucking read this. Could you translate that to English, please? Then the friend is here in Ireland translating that back to English again.
That's the irony of it all, isn't it? Like, you know?
It's so funny. There just needs to be, and I would love, I feel less Irish because I don't speak Irish. I would love to be able to, it's our native tongue, and to be speaking English, it's a little bit of a waste of a mouth, I think. If you're like you're born in this country and you can't speak the language, it's a bit of a disgrace. Like, you should be able to speak it, and I think we need to push it on this podcast from next week on, Bertie. Right? Yeah.
This could be the start of it from here.
Nothing but Irish. Is that all right?
What's waffles in Irish?
And in fact, let's just do it in English. So it says here, I've just got this stat here. I can't remember what website it's on, but it says the increase in numbers of younger people speaking Irish is very much one of the most positive and encouraging aspects of the results. This was to do with actually the census, sorry. So overall, the stats show us that there is much more work to be done, at the language in the Gaeltacht is needed to continue that support if they are to grow and flourish. So it's just supporting those Gaeltachts and trying to make them grow and push kids into speaking Irish.
Like, I would agree with that, because where I work, like, I've worked at Closter Regis and Ranafast is up at home there, like, and I would have worked there for the last 10-11 years now, and pre-COVID there was I wouldn't say it was dwindling, but particularly, like, the different courses are kind of aimed at different age groups. So, like, we would have courses that are maybe focused on students coming in from the 6 counties, and then other courses then that are for students maybe studying for junior cert, and then there's one kind of towards the end of the summer that's kind of focused for Leaving Cert students and people that are going to be doing, obviously because of the oral exam, a lot of work would be dedicated towards that. But was that particular course, you're talking students between the age of 16 and 18, where the numbers were dropping quite significantly, and it was kind of a bit of a concern for us up there, like, because you're thinking, no, is it going to be feasible for us to run this course in a couple of years? But since COVID, it's just taken off,
really?
Like, across all the courses, where we have 6 courses up there now at the minute. We're halfway through, I think, the 3rd one or the 4th one at the minute, and we're full to capacity across every one of them. Every course is full
good.
booked out.
That's
Like
brilliant.
whereas like we wouldn't really have seen that before. It
And
would have been
that's-
busy, but not.
That's all people like booking, because in school you don't get sent to the Gaeltacht, like. So
Mhm.
that's all people on their own time or whatever booking in like a summer
Yeah.
camp or whatever.
Yeah. Now, again, I'm not going to say that they're all up there because they're mad to learn Irish. No, it's obviously a factor, but it's obviously getting away from home and the social
Yeah.
aspect of things as well.
But that helps them.
Yeah,
100%. And
because it's casual Irish then
yeah,
outside of the lessons or whatever, like.
yeah, and they're getting exposed to that every day for 2 weeks. Like, so, the families that they're staying with, they're all Irish speakers. The teachers,
And when you become a teacher, I think, isn't it, don't you have to go to the Gaeltacht for a certain period as well?
yeah.
And what if you brought that into like the secondary school?
What do you mean?
That you had to go for 2, it was part of your school term.
Well, that'd be brilliant,
to go
wouldn't
for
it?
2
Yeah,
weeks, like.
yeah, you could do that now. I suppose there's a cost element to that too. Like,
Yeah.
and that has to be kind
Yeah,
of factored
you have to
into,
be funding and stuff for it and stuff.
Do you speak English in your Irish classes at all when you're teaching Irish in the school?
I try not to, but I suppose I would do a little bit here and then. So like, depending on the level that you're at or the students that are in front of you, you'd speak predominantly in Irish, and then I might repeat myself in English the odd time, or if there's maybe a tricky word or a tricky phrase or sentence, then you might repeat it in English afterwards and things like that there. But predominantly I'll try and speak in Irish as much as I possibly can. Yeah.
And the students, would they converse back in Irish? Are they particularly strong?
Some they'll respond to you in English.
There's a load of
Yeah.
kids in Naas with like a Donegal twang to the right.
That's also a challenge, and well, for students and the parents, the parent teacher meetings are good fun with me. Like whenever I go and I start speaking obviously in English to the parents, and you can just see them kind of turning their ear towards you. Like,
Yeah. And I was talking to that parent there who has the Spanish daughter. He was saying he was learning Spanish. He's fluent now, but he was learning Spanish, and he had one of the days he had an Argentinian teacher come in, and he just couldn't understand her at all. The way she was pronouncing stuff was totally different to how he'd learnt his proper Spanish through his Spanish teacher. So is there a huge difference in, say, the type of Irish that you would speak as opposed to, say, someone who speaks like Rathcarn Irish?
There's not that there'd be a huge difference. It'd be certain words, it's more the pronunciation, I suppose.
All right, okay.
Like there'll be different words. So say, for example, football, like it would be pell, but then in Kerry or in Munster it'd be cadge. Like that'd be a different word altogether. Like it's just, but again, that's just like I suppose like a colloquial thing. Like so it means the exact same thing, but just they have a different word for it. Like so, I would see more differences between ourselves maybe and Munster Irish, and Connemara is not too bad. Like they would be generally the same, but again, just different words for different things. Like
The boys down in Munster just want to be different.
yeah. So like it is, there is and there isn't. It kind of depends like on what.
And is that coming from like as I said, like local, like more like the slang terms, slang?
Possibly like again, like that word cadge that they would have down for football would be. I would imagine that's a slang term. That's where it would have come from. Like, I don't know for sure, but probably that's where it comes from. Like, and I'd say slang would probably have infiltrated all of the dialects, at one point or another. But there would be small differences here and there. Like, but overall.
And what does that? Is there a translation for that? Because obviously Pell is football, like, and
for the Munster word, the cadge, it again just means football. Like, yeah. So.
I suppose it's kind of like, do you remember when we were young, you'd come to the likes of Navan or something, or you go to a disco in RD or something, and you hear people saying moon, and you're like, the fuck does that mean? Why are they saying the word moon all the time? Like, oh, that means good. Oh, yeah. And we would say, like, what was it?
When did this happen?
Do you remember anyone saying moon growing up?
No.
Oh, that's moon.
I remember there was different things, words for shifting, alright, but that's completely different.
What was like a trim word that you'd have? Like, there's always that word for, oh, that's deadly.
Munya, no.
No, I didn't have that one. What was that?
That's it's actually a friend of mine. He'd be from South Armagh, but Cross McGlen, kind of around that area. They can have their own language, if you want to call it that. But like, there's certain words like munya means great or brilliant. Like munya, yeah. So I would have heard that.
That's munya.
So I'm well used to hear him saying it. Like, so there's different words. Yeah, you'd actually, if you listen to Oisin McConville or John McEntee or Tony McEntee, you'd hear them maybe using it that time, like in football. Like so.
Munya. I'm going to start using that now. Everyone like, what the fuck's that? There had to be trim words. There had to be.
Yeah, but there was like
class.
Well, obviously it's not like Irish words. It's
Savage.
just like, I think terms go through like periods of time. Like there was a time everyone said like, oh no shit, Sherlock.
Yeah.
Like everyone, like, but nobody says that anymore. Like, And there's obviously other words that we used to say that you can't say anymore.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah, there's a few of those, all right.
Yeah.
So on the whole, the Irish language is still thriving, but it does need that little bit of a push, doesn't it? Really?
Yeah, like it's good to see. Is like for us, like the numbers of students that are coming to the Gaelic now during the summer. It's great that obviously the interest is there, like, you know, and but there is work to be done. Yeah, I think more so in school, you know, because trying to get them speaking Irish as opposed to writing the whole time and studying poetry, and you know, maybe there is a space for that. Like I would have said, like I've been kind of banging the drum for a few years now that if you could do it, I know, like the way French, German, Spanish are taught, they're taught as a language, like, and then if Irish could be taught the same way or it could be structured the same way, and then if you have, like maybe say in maths, we have maths and applied maths, or the students who are really, really talented in maths, if they wanted to go off and do an applied Irish subject where you know, then you can go into your poetry, your literature, your essay writing. Yeah,
it's great. Yeah.
You could you know, to me that would be a better way of doing it, because then at least then you know that all the other classes are, you're learning your basic Irish, you know, your conversational Irish, and you're practicing that day in day out, as opposed to sitting taking notes and listening to me talk about Irish poetry, you know. So it's that for me would be, you know, one thing that you could do, like, but I'm sure that somebody will come up with some sort of argument.
Popular outside of Ireland. There are people like who've never been to Ireland that have learned Irish.
Really?
I can't remember what show it was. Might be something that Hector was on, and he met a fella in New York on the street and literally had a full conversation in Irish. What? And he's like, "Have you ever been to Ireland?" No, but it's on like the list to go.
Duolingo, that'll be a big thing, I suppose. Like you can use that for learning Irish now. Like, so
can you?
You can, yeah. It's on that as well. Yeah. So there you are. If you want to start with that. Like,
yeah, that's actually what I'm going to do. Although that's probably one of the things I'm like, I'm going to do that, and then I'm just never do it. But I'm going to try now. Is there this last question, then we better get on to the old waffle game and stuff. Could there be something, say, with the likes of, say, ATM machines, or when we scan something in a shop, do you know the response you get? Do you know when it's you know, card or cash or whatever, that stuff is all said in Irish, that just becomes normal, that you get a response in Irish or something, or someone giving you change back in a pub where they ask for it in Irish, just something in there that we have some sort of a daily thing where we have to know a little bit of Irish to respond. Is that something?
I know that you have to use like a certain number of words, otherwise you'll be arrested.
Yeah, exactly.
Just go straight in.
There definitely is like
numbers, like, or something, like, you know, just
the shops would be the best way, like, or, you know, something that you're doing on a daily basis, where if you said you could have, you know, just the words written in Irish, whether it's carta for card or whatever.
Yeah, because I definitely think the majority of Irish people know, like, you know, isolated numbers, words,
and
like they mightn't be able to say like, oh, that's what I want.
Yeah,
but what they want might, that one word they might know. And I think if they start putting that in, I know maybe like from where you're from, Dan, that might be great putting in the English words. But if you end up having like every sentence that whatever word you knew in Irish that you put into it, I assume eventually the whole sentence might become
that's Irish.
No, I don't know about having an English now up at home. Maybe a controversial. We've a local councillor up at home who's defacing the signs, taking off the English words.
No.
I won't name him now, but he's
legend.
He's causing a bit of hassle up there now. So for people, but
that's deadly.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, even just a Garamila Mahagut or Garmahagut, just something when you're going out of a shop. It'd be lovely to hear it more often.
But it's great, because where's Kitty's calf? That's his Guidor. That's beside Guidor.
That's Bombay, yeah. It's 2-3 minutes from my house, yeah.
And when you're in that place, like, everybody speaks Irish,
and you just don't get an option to speak English.
They spoke English to us, obviously, like, but like it's great to hear it in the place that people are coming in, and then people were pulling up outside and were shouting in for their takeaway order, and it was all in Irish stuff, and going out and giving to them, like, that was great.
Like they'll speak Irish first of all, but then if you don't have Irish, then obviously they'll speak English. We're not gonna kick
exclude
you.
Yeah. It's beautiful stuff. Beautiful. I'm gonna get you lingo. I'm actually gonna do it next time you come onto the podcast.
No problem.
I'm gonna have at least one sentence of Irish for you. Right, we go for we do the waffle game.
Yeah, you probably don't have a pen, have you? Sorry, the answers are on the laptop, so you have to turn the laptop around.
I don't know if I have a pen. Hold on.
It's that time, you know the name. It's the reason we all came. Find the words that are the same. It's that time to play the waffle game.
Be careful here, you don't see my notes.
30 seconds.
Hold on a second.
Get up there.
Oh my god. Okay.
Sometimes he finds it hard.
I stop that, you. Being bold now. Right, go on, Bertie.
Okay, so as is everybody, we try to be nice to the guests and go into your wheelhouse. So in the next 30 seconds, Dan, can you name 5 towns in Donegal beginning with B?
Ooh, right. Ballyshannon, Bundoran. Jesus, now you're putting me under pressure. Ballyshannon, Bundoran. My God.
17
Bunbeg.
seconds.
How is there not more towns starting with B?
25. 29.
I'm gone.
30.
There we go. Holy moly.
Had you a list of 5? You had?
I have a list of 5 here, yeah.
Jesus.
There's actually 13 towns in
13
Donegal
towns.
beginning with
I'm
B.
going to kick myself when I hear half of them, but sure.
So here's the list.
Ballybuffet. How did I miss Ballybuffet?
Yeah, that isn't that the home of Donegal football?
Of
no?
course it is.
Sure, yeah.
So you got 3, was it?
3. Yeah.
Ballyshannon, Bunbeg, and Bundoran.
Buncrana. I knew there was one
So,
up there.
Buncrana,
In
yeah.
the show, and I was thinking about a show, and I was thinking, there's one up there somewhere, but I couldn't think of it.
So you might be allowed home now. I don't know.
I don't think
Maybe
so.
not.
I was hoping you were going to ask me maybe Donegal 1992 players or something like that there. Like.
I actually was going to that.
That would have been so much better.
I'd say I would have got nearly the
I
whole
wouldn't.
squad.
I actually thought like Bunbeg was like the curveball because I thought the other 4 were.
Well, Bunbeg's where I live. Like.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
that's my address. Like, so,
And I seen that Bunbeg. I was thinking that sounds familiar, and I still put it in. That must be fine. So 3 out of 5 is respectable.
It's not great now, to be honest.
No.
with you.
Nah, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's one of those games though. As soon as
Bunbeg then wasn't the first one you said, was it?
It was the third one I said. I was going to go, there's definitely one I should know here. Like.
all right, shell bombs time.
Shellbombs.
All right, I've got a really really quick one. This is just a really simple
Well,
shell bomb.
make it long because I don't have one.
You don't have any. Well, I'll pass mine over to you, and you can read my one.
Okay.
So did you know, Bertie, that Australia is wider than the moon?
Oh wow.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
How is that even possible? Actually,
Wider.
the moon must be very very small.
The moon is small.
Is it tiny? Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
It's like about this big.
that was a mad old fact I pulled out of the thing at the last minute there. Very very last thing there.
Are these all ones for other weeks? Is it?
Nah, just sure. Look.
Venus is the only planet to spin clockwise. Is it? Everybody else goes anti-clockwise. Is it?
Well, if it says it there, it must be true.
Where'd you get these?
I don't know. Some website.
Do you have any mad facts that you'd like to pull out of your
Anything
teacher
with
knowledge?
the Irish language even?
Jeez, no.
Is there any Irish OnlyFans stars?
I'm sure
just,
there are.
Just talking Irish?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Is there Irish porn actually?
You can pay to have somebody speak Irish to you for 5 minutes. Like. That actually might be a good. Might be a good side hustle there now. Maybe.
There you go.
Tell you, make a bit of money. No mad Irish facts.
No. Would you like to sign off on like an Irish monologue?
Oh, that'd be nice. Yeah. Give us a bit of poetry. Actually,
Yeah.
I think that's very important. Actually, we should be doing that more.
What would
than
you like
leaving
me to
cert.
say? Sure, I'll let you choose. Maybe Sean.
Well, actually, do you have kind of any like Donegal-esque poems that you can rattle off there in a minute?
there's a few poems alright now, but whether they be
Go on,
kind
that'll be
of
interesting.
for this.
What's your favourite?
Favorite poem?
Yeah, from at home.
Really
poem
on the
from home.
spot now.
Yeah, you know, I thought, but it's funny because like it's the poems that are on the course are like they're not all Donegal poems. Like so the ones I teach, like the only one that you could think of is there's a poet called Poetic Maxivnia. He would have wrote he's obviously a poet, like, but one of his poems is on the curriculum now. But that's the only one really that I could think of. Poems like the songs and stuff. There's loads up at home now, but don't ask me to sing because
No,
I don't think anybody wants to hear that.
No, I was like, I didn't know you had a singing voice.
No, I don't. I definitely don't. But if you want me to sign off with a phrase or a word or a sentence, then
Yeah, sure. What's that poem? Do you want to say that poem?
it's not the nicest poem, not the best poem in the world. Like.
Oh, okay. All right.
Let me see if I can find a short Irish poem. This doesn't actually. It probably means nothing. Oh, here we go. Is that something?
Is that something?
Mashera, yeah, that would be a Poetic Pierce who wrote that. Yeah, that would be one written by Poetic Pierce. Yeah.
See how unpatriotic that I didn't
Yeah.
even know that.
Yeah,
It actually
no.
says his name down the bottom of it there. Is that a famous one?
It'd be quite famous. Yeah. Now again, wouldn't be on the curriculum, but it's obviously anyone that would study the Irish language, and would probably come across that in there in college and university and stuff. So yeah.
Could you read that and see how close you could actually
Jesus.
get?
Oh,
Can you
I
rate him?
I wasn't ready for this.
And could you rate him on his ability to
No,
speak
I
Irish?
I think it's the font that I'm not good at.
Oh, would you shut up? Go on, see if you can actually read the first sentence there and see how good you actually get at it.
No,
I'm really
even
putting
in
you-
my own head.
Okay, give me a chance here. Let me see. So Misha era, is it Shiname na on Kalak Dara?
Not a bad effort at all. No.
Oh,
Yeah.
Right, come on. You have to give the second one a go there.
more
Three out of 5.
more
absolutely,
Muglore.
absolutely.
Is it more Muglore?
Yeah, more Muglore. Yeah,
Oh.
very good.
Me a rug Cucullen Crossa.
Perfect. Kroger, Mayrug, Cuchulainn Kroger. Yeah.
Well done, Bertie.
That's
Come on.
That's you're selling yourself short
Yes.
there, Bertie.
I'm sweating like I was eating a Chinese.
Red sauce, did you?
Right, so the next time that you come on, then we have to improve our Irish speaking skills.
Okay.
We try and do that. We do a bit of Duolingo.
We can do, yeah.
All right, let's do that, Bertie.
Okay.
Thanks very much for coming on
Yeah,
today.
Not at
Cheers,
all.
Dan.
It's my pleasure. Thanks
Thanks.
for having me.
Absolutely
Giving up the time.
fascinating.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
class.